after spending most of the day indoors. Warned by RCMP, 2 armed and dangerous suspects were on the loose.
It's getting called out. Welcome back to Moose on Loose. My name's David. Today we've got the Solicitor General of Ontario calling out the Toronto Police for not doing their jobs, not protecting Canadians. We've got some stories of government fraud, more crime, corruption, and chaos. Let's jump into this. Starting this one off, I want to do an update on this. So Mark Carney spotted in Nanaimo. This was 2 days ago. I have it from a source that Mark Carney was in Nanaimo to visit his mother in a care home for 1 day. And well, the question is it ethical that Mark Carney spends, over probably $150,000 to fly his entire motorcade crew out here, gas guzzling jet across the country for 1 day to see his mom? I think if he wants to do this, he should jump on a commercial jet. He can fly in business class. He can bring a couple of his security with him. He can pay out of pocket if he wants to use the private jet. I don't know. This is just such a waste of money, especially since we have so many problems, so many people sleeping in the streets, and he has no problem blowing $100,000 just to go to Nanaimo for 1 day. You could easily work it into his itinerary when he's going around Canada doing things. Moving ahead, we've got this one. Department woke up to 629 staffers. The Department of Employment last year disciplined 629 employees for misconduct, from absenteeism to theft and fraud. Record shows disclosure was intended to show what happens when wrongdoing or misconduct is reported. Of the 629 employees disciplined for breaching a values and ethics code for the public sector, a total of 14 were fired. 80 others failed probation, and 223 were suspended without pay or received written reprimands. Goes on to talk about there's fake doctor's notes, people trying to falsify stuff to not go into work. I mean, come on. We also have this one here. Hundreds of CBSA employees linked to misconduct cases in bombshell report. 409 investigations, 71 founded. 259 employees involved in founded misconduct cases in just 1 year. It's time to clean up the government. Moving ahead, we've got this bombshell here. The Solicitor General just spelled out that the protests in the city are indeed acts of intimidation and harassment. They're talking about the Palestinian protesters in Toronto. The Solicitor General is the Minister in charge of public safety for the province of Ontario, essentially Doug Ford's Minister of Public Safety. We've seen this being called out across X here, and this is the Solicitor General himself. He says, "Today I issued a letter to the Toronto Police Service and TPS Board to clearly outline concerns surrounding the lack of consistent enforcement when it comes to intimidation, harassment, and other H-word motivated offenses." And here's the letter here. This is titled towards the police here, the Toronto Police Service. It says, "I'm writing to you both once again with urgency to underscore the need for firm, consistent, and visible enforcement of H-word, intimidation, and harassment-motivated offenses by the Toronto Police Service. Recent incidents, including mob intimidation and harassment at the Eaton Centre just last week, as well as ongoing and intimidating marches throughout residential neighborhoods near Bathurst and Shepherd, are completely unacceptable." This is the one he's mentioning here at the Eaton Centre. These people are unbelievable. In a mall, this is what they're doing at Christmas time. Not to mention numerous rallies, Bathurst and Shepherd Street. As I mentioned, we've got this one here. Why is RBC private property being used by mobs at Bathurst and Shepherd? I guess RBC doesn't want to get involved. They're not going to kick them off there, but goes on to say, these incidents have left many residents living in a state of heightened fear and anxiety, concerned about the lack of visible response and feeling unable to move freely and safely in public spaces or within their own neighborhoods. When such incidents occur repeatedly and without visible consequences, it substantially undermines public confidence in the rule of law and in our institutions responsible for upholding it. They're getting directly called out here, the Toronto Police not doing their job. We know from back earlier in the year, the Toronto Police had a podcast where they essentially said they supported these Palestinian protesters. Obviously not all of them, but some of them, because some of them are those members of that community. So no wonder they're not cracking down on them. We got Melissa posting this one. Nothing says Happy New Year more than pro-Palestinian marches planned in Toronto and Montreal to disrupt families trying to celebrate, and placing a strong presence of police forces across the city. The question is, are they actually going to do anything? Are they just going to put the police there, have them stand around and do a whole lot of nothing like they normally do? The Toronto Police with this one, as Torontonians ring in the new year, police will have a strong presence in the city. Yep, we'll believe it when we see it. The reason why this is getting brought up now is because of this. We have Palestinian protesters coming out with this. They try to hide this among their own people so it doesn't get out into the major media. They don't want this to really blow up across the media. They only want it in their own circles, and that's New Year's resolution, Antifada revolution. They're doing a major protest, which I'm sure is starting right now on New Year's Eve. So we'll get rid of that music as usual. It's more of the same here. This is their like marketing video. It's funny, like a lot of the stuff they're posting here, the smoke grenades, climbing stuff, climbing on excavators, it's all breaking the law. And they make videos about it and brag about it, and they never get arrested. They should be getting arrested for breaking the law. Here's another one here. Downtown Toronto, 235 Queens Quay West, 11 p.m. Yeah, it's just more of the same here. When our brothers and sisters in Gaza continue to be G-word via our tax dollars, how can we not protest? Why don't you go home and fight then? Here's some more of the stuff they've been posting. No celebration until liberation. They've got the dates, the time here today. This has been going on a while now. We've got Melissa posting this one back 2 weeks ago, and you can see command post locations, enhanced patrol, several locations throughout the region. Despite the Toronto police posting people all over the place, they're still not doing anything. Here's a report we have once again from 2 weeks ago. It's not like this is something that popped up out of nowhere. And
with more on that, Canada's spy agency says that a threat cannot be ruled out. An intelligence brief prepared by the Integrated Threat Assessment Center says there's a realistic possibility of a violent extremist attack taking place in Canada, including one targeting the Jewish community. The briefing says the agency cannot discount the possibility of violence from a lone actor or a small group, saying it could happen with little or no warning.
With little or no warning. No wonder people are terrified. This is coming directly from CSIS, that they think this is an imminent threat. And the worst part about this, it's Canadian tax dollars that are funding these Palestinian protesters. We got Andy Lee dropping this bombshell here. There's no point in trying to charge the Globalize, the Antifada gang. They pay their legal fees with your tax money. And she's posting this, the Muslim Legal Support Center received $565,000 of Canadian taxpayer money, empowering Muslim women, addressing gendered Islamophobia and workplace S-word harassment. The proposed project aims to provide comprehensive legal support and public education to Muslim women in Ontario who face intersectional discrimination in the workplace. Yada, yada, yada. If you notice at the top, MLSC, and well, that's what we have here, MLSC. Are you facing workplace repercussions for supporting Palestine? Speak to a lawyer. Canada is not in short supply of corruption, wasteful spending, endless crime. We have that here. Massive criminal network busted, 300 plus stolen vehicles valued $25 million across Ontario being legally exported to overseas markets, mainly Middle East and Africa. We actually got a video of this. This one's coming from America. Same sort of thing. It says here 400 stolen cars worth $40 million smuggled from Michigan to the Middle East. This is hitting both our nations here. See, they perfectly fit in these shipping containers. They send it over and that's it. Goodbye. Another one, vehicle after vehicle. It looks like they fit two of them in each one of these shipping containers. We also got this one from Brampton, Ontario. Elia Turnkey, Malik Young, and Omar Alia have been charged in connection with a homicide. The victim was driving out of a plaza when the suspects approached his vehicle and opened fire. Some more friendly characters the Liberals let into Canada. We also got this story here out of Saskatchewan. RCMP search for an armed pair after fatal shooting. There's a serious manhunt here where they basically told the small village community to lock your doors and nobody go outside.
Just couldn't think right.
Larry Wapistaquan, overwhelmed by shock and grief. His son Neil killed in an early morning mass shooting near this cabin on a northern Saskatchewan First Nation.
I hope those guys, they get caught.
Big Island Lake Cree Nation, shaken, mourning, and still waiting for answers. After spending most of the day indoors, warned by RCMP, two armed and dangerous suspects were on the loose. Neil's uncle says the surviving victims came to his home for help.
They said a side-by-side drove by and then somebody started shooting at them.
In total, 4 people were shot. Police haven't identified the suspects or made any arrests. They were last spotted on an ATV.
Officers are as well investigating the scene and interviewing witnesses to determine whether the shooting is random or targeted.
The community is near the Alberta border, home to about 800 people. For 8 hours, residents were urged to lock their doors, but police say they no longer believe there is an imminent risk to public safety.
We don't take safety issues lightly, and we are working as quickly as we can while being diligent to that investigational integrity to locate the proper suspects.
So we haven't found the suspect yet, but it's okay. You can come out now. Don't worry, guys. Yeah, I don't think so. Not in a small community like that. Where are they going to go hide in the bush?
Community leaders say they need government help to tackle gangs and mental health issues in the community.
I know it's becoming a very frustrating thing for our First Nations leadership in our communities, dealing with the issues that lead to this type of violence.
The family of Neil Wapistaquan demanding answers. They say he was previously involved in a gang, but left many years ago.
Kind of in shock after I went to that scene, seen my nephew laying there, then the cops doing CPR on him.
As the community starts to process the shooting, people are pressuring police to locate those responsible fast.
And Alexander, there are concerns over how little police seem to know about the suspects.
That's right, Lindsay. There are questions tonight over why RCMP haven't been able to identify the two suspects they're looking for. Even though the First Nation says it has more than 100 security cameras, police say they're reviewing the footage, but it was too dark to clearly see the two people or their clothing, and say they're working as quickly as they can to identify and find those responsible.
Thanks, Alexander.
It's just another story like this in Canada. What we see every day is ridiculous. I mean, look at this off of CTV News. They actually posted this: top 10 LCBO thefts caught on camera. And spoiler alert, there's only one in this video, and they don't post the other 9.
They just do not care. It's the taxpayers' money, the LCBO. We got to catch these guys and throw them in jail.
It's the kind of crime that kept Waterloo Regional Police busy throughout the year.
We've had over 900 LCBO-related calls this year already. We've laid over 500 charges.
Police said they were committed to holding the suspects accountable, and the Premier felt confident they'd be caught. But no arrests were made.
And these things are...
We have their faces on camera there. Like, just stick these guys, like, for that crime, 2 years in jail, take the value of everything that they stole and the police resources, add it up, say it's like $20,000, get them to work. They got to work that off. If they can work it off in 2 years, then they can come out of jail. Otherwise, they have to keep working until they pay it off.
They're very difficult. There's stolen vehicles often involved, and if people don't come forward and point you to a suspect, sometimes it's very difficult to identify one.
Just days later, video is released showing thieves at it in Wellington County, where a number of LCBOs were also hit this year.
When you have a photo of someone, you're going to have to rely on someone knowing them. So, I mean, there's all kinds of things to be done through mugshot searches digitally, kind of face recognition stuff. And inevitably, normally, one of these goofballs has someone that thinks their friend's going to drop a dime on them. And you hope for that to occur, and then there's someone to investigate and go after. I'm a little bit surprised in those cases that no one's called Crime Stoppers or something, but at the same time, Crime Stoppers call alone is not going to result in an arrest, but it certainly would help.
Clearly, there needs to be some new rules that jewelry stores, stumbling juice stores, they can have a full list of them. They're allowed to have certain defense items like tasers, something like that. Maybe not necessarily pew-pews, but they should have something they can defend themselves with. I think a taser would be a very good alternative here. Just hit them in the chest with that, boom, drop them, call the cops, throw some cuffs on them, throw these pieces of garbage behind bars, get them working. They don't work, they don't eat.
Parts of Ontario, including Peel Region, arrests were made in dozens of organized thefts. But Lewis points out many of those caught don't spend much time behind bars.
The courts aren't necessarily taking these things seriously. I mean, you can't lock up.
Well, of course not, because we have activist judges in so many of these courts. This is not a hard problem to fix here. It's whether it's tasers, paintball guns, bear spray, allow some vendors to use these things. Imagine if someone comes in and starts trying to steal some jewelry and they get hit in the face with bear spray and then hit in the chest with a taser. They wouldn't be able to see, and then they'd be like convulsing on the ground, KO'd. Throw some cuffs on them.
Everybody, but if somebody's doing 30 robberies of liquor, brazen robberies of liquor stores, I'm pretty sure they should be behind bars until trial.
Ford promised to reach out to the Prime Minister to discuss bail reform. While officials work to address the issue, police in the LCBO do not recommend intervening with thieves.
I know it's frustrating, but unfortunately, we don't know if these individuals are armed with any type of weapon.
The intelligence guys in all these departments are connected, and they'll be sharing information, sharing pictures, sharing informants, and doing all sorts of stuff. Inevitably, these cases will be solved as well.
Well, no arrests have been made in the Kitchener or Wellington
Yeah, of course there hasn't been an arrest made because we're being ruled by the Liberals.
County cases. Lewis says police stations all share information, and he's confident that they are still investigating.
That doesn't matter. Nothing happens. We know how this works. We need real solutions here. Imagine if they had paintball guns behind the counters and somebody came in just pop, 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 and each store would have a specific color, or maybe every single region would have a specific color, because then you would know. You see a guy running down the street with pink paint on him. Oh, he robbed it from one of these stores over here. Or maybe they would just pick a color that's easy to see against the environment there. If there's lots of forest, you wouldn't want to pick green. You'd pick a color that contrasts it, like blue. You see a guy running down the street with blue paint all over him, then somebody on the street can call the cops and say, hey, I think some guy robbed this store because he's covered in blue paint. There's simple solutions to these problems here. Unfortunately, we have the Liberal government in power who wants these problems in our country. They don't want to fix this. That's why we have this problem. They are the problem here. Speaking of the problem, we've got this video posted here talking about Mark Carney's accomplishments. Of course, the left are having a meltdown about this. So I'll replace the music with Paul the Mountain King as per usual. tampons in men's washrooms. It comes down to Carney's record's awful. He hasn't done anything. I mean, he's lining up all his ducks for Brookfield, but I mean, that's about it.